The future belongs to the bold, to the creative, to those who dare think outside of the box and, in the process, deliver better solutions. Where biking is concerned, the future belongs to hubless e-bikes, according to one startup. There's no denying that hubless wheels on bicycles and motorcycles look infinitely cool, which explains the years-long obsession to bring them to reality, despite the countless failed attempts. That obsession is still very much around, and perhaps the Revo e-bike from Bino, which pinged on the radar in 2020 before all the air went out of the bubble in 2024, is the best example. Assuming you're not yet discouraged or, say, you're one of those dreamers who'd like logic to be defied through the existence of a hubless e-bike that's more convenient, simpler to use, and perhaps even cheaper than a traditional hub bike, this one's for you. There's a new player on the market, and it's trying to claim a world first for yet another hubless e-bike. The name's Kosmos, and the bike is actually a peerless collection called the Kosmos series. Take all this with a grain of salt, though. The collection is comprised of just 2 models that share a range of similarities, including the many bold claims they make, the Kosmos F5 and the Kosmos F5 Max. Kosmos is trying to raise funds to bring them into production on crowdfunding, promising the world's first hubless foldable e-bike that's smoother and quieter than other e-bikes, but also safer, more reliable, more practical, and believe it or not, cheaper as well. If you've been keeping an eye out on the latest developments in the e-bike sector, you know that this promise is a lot. Both models of the Kosmos are fairly the same, with the difference that the F5 Max is spec'd like the higher-end version of the F5. The former gets a 250-watt 45 Nm motor in the rear hub with 5-speed internal gears, while the latter has a 250-watt 65 Nm mid-motor and only 1 speed. The F5 Max comes with app connectivity and a smaller smart display on the handlebar, while the F5 gets a larger display in the center and a set of physical buttons on the handlebar. However, the core design is the same for both models. This is a foldable e-bike with a hubless front wheel, and it's that hubless front wheel that somehow allows Kosmos to make a bunch of unverified claims. Admitting that hubless bikes are too complicated and too costly to become viable mass products, Kosmos promises a bike that brings together all the pros of a hubless bike with none of the cons, without detailing either. Apparently, the hubless front wheel brings a reduced center of gravity that delivers better grip and better maneuverability on corners. The hubless wheel also makes the bike lighter and more aerodynamic, apparently, even though the listed weight is 48.5 pounds, which is much more than what you get with other e-bikes with a similar foldable design. Kosmos also promises efficient braking that combines the best of both worlds, but these models have a V-brake in the front and disc braking on the rear wheel. They claim that intuitive pedal assist and a torque sensor will make a joke out of any incline and that the front hubless will somehow make stopping easier. State-of-the-art safety, convenience, and aesthetic features are bundled together in the Kosmos to turn it into a city bike that you can take up on public transport, bring up to your apartment and store in a smaller space, or pack up in the trunk of your car. Assuming you can easily lift that much weight, of course. Powering the motor of either Kosmos model is a 36-volt 10.4 amp-hour battery that gets a full charge in 4 hours and is good for 46 miles or 50 miles on a single charge. Kosmos seems undecided on a specific number. The battery is also the seat post and it can be removed for charging inside. For peace of mind, Kosmos puts an integrated locking device on it, which sounds very fancy but is literally a locking mechanism you need a key for. Kosmos says they built the first prototype and started testing it in March 2021 and, with the campaign going live in February 2025, they're eyeing a May start date for production for a July 2025 delivery. MSRP is listed at $3,500 for the Kosmos F5 and $3,900 for the F5 Max, but early backers can get them for as little as $1,500 and $1,750. So far, not many are sold on these big claims. One media outlet notes only 10 backers had pledged by March 22nd, and only one more has dared to do so since then, as of now. That said, perhaps the most outrageous claim of the Kosmos hubless foldable e-bike isn't even the promise of a biking future without hubs. As part of their ongoing commitment to improve the product, Kosmos is working on how we can replace the hubless tire with a customizable digital display.